evening, hello, and welcome. We're back. And are you ready? It's so good to be back with you. This is Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. I am Joy Ruffin, and the work that I do with you is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. I work with women who want to transition into their wow factor, no matter what the transition is all about. We'll talk about that later. Tonight, my friends, it's so good to be back with you. We were away for quite a while, putting a lot of things together for you. And tonight, it's my pleasure to be back here with you and to have a featured guest speaker that you're going to go, wow, woo, yippee over, because she is phenomenal, fantastic. I meet the most fabulous people. But let me tell you, first off, that the pleasure of spending each and every week with you to share with you all of these wonderful, fabulous women is my joy. Happens to be my name, but it's my joy. So it's good to be back with you. Now, let me share with you a little bit about this lady today. She gave herself this title for the show that we'll be doing tonight, Playing as I Am. I added a little bit of a twist to it, and I say the antidote, playing to isolation, because it really is. And we're going to talk a lot about that. Andrea Michelle Haeckel is a phenomenal person. You'll see that. You'll hear that. She is a soulful, focused counseling astrologer. I'm doing a lot of editing and vetting on YouTube. And I ran across her and I said, I must get this lady on the show because I loved everything that she was speaking about. She covered a lot of terrain and territory there because it was an hour-long show and we're only doing 30 minutes here. But this lady has a phenomenal background, and I could go on and on. She has a profound connection to the cosmos and a unique approach to astrology. That's why she calls herself the soul-focused counseling astrologer. Now, depending on which wheelhouse you belong to, maybe it's not your whatever, but we're taking the high road here. And we're going to share with you a lot of information that's going to be very potent, powerful, and meaningful, all one and the same to you. So now you know what I want you to do. I just want you to get comfortable, whatever that is to you. Grab something that you're going to be comfortable with, a glass of water, a cocktail, a cup of coffee, tea, and just sit back and help me to welcome our featured guest speaker tonight, Andrea Michelle Haeckel. Hello, Miss Michelle.
Hello, Joy. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. I can't believe I'm here with you. Thank you so much.
I can't believe it either because I meet the most fabulous people. And let me tell you, I don't like to go off the rails too much because my excitement might not be someone else's. But Andrea, when I heard you that night on YouTube several months ago, I said, I must get in touch with this lady. And I'm so glad that you were willing and consented to come here to be a featured guest speaker because I love the work that you're doing. Before we get started with all of this good stuff that you're going to share with us, how did you get started and involved in astrology?
That's a great question. The short answer is it sort of came to me through drips and drabs about 15 or so years ago. And it wasn't really until I was deep on retreat, the last time that the Sun and Venus came together in Gemini 12 years ago, that something infused and awakened in me. And it was just awakened my passion to bring the sky, or to awaken the sky that's already in our bodies. Not bring the sky to our bodies, but awaken the resonance of our light, which is reflected by the sun, the stars, the planets, that's already in our body via the tracking system of the chart.
I love that explanation. That was yummy. Oh my goodness, that was so good. Because, you know, in a different way, we haven't had a chance to really chat, but I came to this at a very young, early age, meaning my love for astrology, because it supported my growth and my involvement so much so. Involved in the other realm, religious, spiritual, it doesn't matter. They're all really, in my humble opinion, connected. But it resonated with me. And what I heard you say, you mentioned the passion and how it resonated with you. That happens to all of us in different ways.
Yeah.
So now I love your title, Playing as I Am.
Yes.
The antidote to isolation. So let's talk about play as the antidote to isolation. Let's talk a wee bit about that because I love that.
Oh, thank you. So there's playing is a state of being, right? It's not something
Yes.
actually we do. It's more
Yes.
like it's how we orient to life. We can choose particular activities with which we want to play, but playing really is this openness, this sense of wonder, the sense of awe, this open field, what I call the sandbox of life. And the more deeply we are connected with our instinct to play, to investigate, to seek, to stay and discover what's already here, the more I am finding my connection, my unique thread within the thread of life itself. And then I can appreciate my unique place I am within this interconnected web of life. And we discover that life is a series of invitations to play. So we can see life as a series of obstacles or challenges, and we can meet them that way. And oftentimes they are. And sometimes it's very hard to get to a state of play. And that's fine. That's perfect. It's a matter of cultivating the state of play so that when obstacles do arise, we have more of a capacity to meet it with this unknown beginner's mind, sort of awe-filled attitude, which really kind of resources us into a deeper layer and level of creativity to manage and move through those seeming obstacles in ways that we might not otherwise if we were just serious about them or focusing on troubleshooting them without that broader context of this space of playful investigation that we are.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let me tell you why. Because play, to me, fun, humor, especially as we evolve and leave that childhood state where play and sense of wonder and awe is just innately there. Sometimes, too many of us, never all, we lose that. So the more you're able to play and to get into that state of wonder and awe about every that perennial student type of thing, open, then you're in the element gradually where you were meant to be. So that's why it appealed to me in the best way. And the way that you explain that, I'm now with a group where it's all about play and fun. We have fun, we laugh, we joke, we have fun, because even though it's serious and we're talking business, we're talking about and learning how to enjoy the work that we're doing and to play with it and to have that awe and wonder about it. I love that. How does that connect thus far? How have you found it to connect with the call of courage and slowing down?
Great. I love that. So in our fast-paced world, it's very, very easy to get caught up in the external ways in which we are told we need to meet certain metrics. We need to be here at a certain time, whether it be long-range things like goals. At this age, I want to retire. This age, I'm kind of going backwards. This age, I want a family. This age, whatever. These milestones that are set for us seemingly externally, when we slow down and we have the courage to slow down, which oftentimes it does take courage to slow down enough to say enough of whatever is coming at me, where can I find my own natural rhythm and pace? Because when we do that, then so much more of clarity can arise. This sense of wonder, this sense of having more options than when we feel constricted and constrained and we're moving too fast. We are limited in our options. We kind of go with what's our default, which isn't always in our best interest. It's what we know, but it's not necessarily what's best for us in every circumstance. So the capacity, the courage to slow down is availing me to more options. And sometimes that can be scary because we don't necessarily want to know we have more options. And that's a whole other conversation. But it does take courage to slow down and choose something that I might not have chosen in the past very often and see where that leads me. And that plays into that sense of play. Where is this going to go? I might not know. I might have to be more spontaneous in how I meet things in life.
Well, Andrea, that not knowing is so scary for so many people. I get that. I have received that. I understand it. But the way that you explain that, we are in this fast-paced Insta society right now, even with this wonderful tool of technology that most of us are in the box working here, there, and about one way or another. And so that slowing down is difficult because we're so used to the energy that we're expelling, that to slow down and to take time and to breathe. That's why, let me ask you this. This connects and I think relates to what you just shared with us. Well shared. What don't you find, or have you found thus far, that many more people, young, middle, and elder, that they're seeking other ways of understanding themselves more so than ever before? There was a time when astrology was like, ooh, it was in the woo-woo, really.
Right.
Now it's becoming more into the cycle of, I want to know more. Is there more? Have you found that to be?
Very much so. And the thing too, Joy, that I hope to interface as a soul-focused astrologer with people is to get people interested not in just understanding themselves, but in allowing their charts, which is them, to come more fully alive through their experience. So that's where, when we slow down, we're allowing more of an experience to potentially take place. We get out of our heads more and allow more of an experience and a direct connection with myself through experience to emerge. But because we're so unaccustomed to that, that's why it takes courage to slow down. It seems so simple, but oftentimes it's the most simple things that are the most frightening to us, because we are in a very complex society and our minds like to overcomplexify things. So I totally agree. People are looking for more self-understanding. And I love to remind them that it's paired with experience. The more we can slow down to have an experience of ourselves, the more we actually know ourselves then from a place of literally gnosis rather than just knowing.
Ooh, I like that. That was kind of woohoo deep. I like that. You know, when it comes to courage, one of my brilliant, absolutely beloved mentors, Maya Angelou, had this to say: courage is the best attribute that you can acquire for yourself, that you can gain, that you can embrace, because it does take courage, because it's so easy to get caught up in the mill of everything. And so you have found your wheelhouse. But yet there are people who want to seek and know more about themselves. And again, there's that unknown that's frightening. How do you get around that to get those who probably need your guidance more than most? How do you get someone to understand that this is not something that's going to harm or hurt whatever your belief system might be? If anything, it's going to aid and gain for you another awareness that will benefit you.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, Joy, you're asking, how can I share with somebody the benefits of using astrology?
Yes.
Okay.
I went around the bush. Yes.
No, that was great. That's a really good question. It's funny because I'm used to people coming to me because they want this. So I'm not used to like having people like try to, but if I were to speak to somebody who's never understood astrology, it's kind of like, we don't have to believe that the moon affects the tides to see that the moon affects the tides, right? It's not something we have to have faith in. It's something that we see every month. So, there are a number of astrologers, very well-known astrologers, who actually became astrologers trying to debunk astrology.
Yes.
Which is really fun. Like Samuel Reynolds is one that comes off the top of my head. But there are several people who were, very science mind based, because astrology is actually, what I love about it is a mix of left and right brain, right? It's tactical knowledge, knowing the significance of the meanings of certain things, but then it requires the intuition and deep connection with the currents of the cosmos via the gifts of the astrologer to merge those things together to bring out what's happening for each person. So it's almost like it's something that, why not give it a shot? It doesn't undermine anybody's faith. It has nothing to do with religion at all or a belief system. It's more a way to track a sense of timing. That's what astrology is.
Timing.
It's cycles and time, and when appropriate times to act in this way, when appropriate times are to be fallow, things of that nature.
Timing with your DNA cycle, which everyone has a different cycle of life. And once you understand that, that's why, and what you said so well said is that It has nothing to do with whatever your belief system might be, because it's not going to harm or hurt that in any way. But some people think it does. I threw you a curve there, but you answered it quite well. Before I take a quick little break, this I love because this is something I think a lot of us need to understand, have a deeper understanding. The need to be alone together.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. So one of the things that I've discovered in the last dozen years or whatnot is, for those of us who are seeking to know ourselves better, knowing ourselves, again, we tend to knowing ourselves is really a language of saying to become intimate with myself, to become intimate with my unique soul current, right?
Yes.
And we can do that through the mind as a gateway, but at a certain point, we have to understand ourselves, again, somatically, spiritually, right? And soul is the amalgam, the 1 + 1 = 3 result of spirit and soma, of body. So each of us has our unique way to access that.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that it's supported when we do it together. So in other words, like you said, each of us is on a unique journey, but we don't have to journey by ourselves. We can do it alone, meaning no one can do it for us but ourselves, but we can do it in collaboration in a community with other people, also courageously seeking to become more intimate with their particular soul thread within the fabric of all of life, because we are interconnected.
Yes.
And I have found when we are in a community, there's a soul group heart that supports us in our endeavors as well and keeps us connected.
Love that. Love that. Oh, Andrea, you're going to have to come back again and again because we can only cover so much. And I want to take a quick little reset, and then I want to get back and talk about the feminine, the divine feminine in astrology. And there's a lot to cover, and that's one of the reasons I came to you. But anyway, my engineer is going to put you in the green room, and I'll be back with you in just a second. We're going to talk about the divine feminine in astrology and more. But let me just say to you, if you're here for the first time, you are in the right place. Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies belongs to you, and you belong here in Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, our Facebook group. Because we need your vision, we need your mission and your purpose. There are so many other beautiful souls there that you need to, let me put it this way. You are invited to connect with, to allow change and collaboration with them. All of them might not be for you, but many of them will be. And your assignment is to make the connection and collaborate if it's feasible or possible. One of the things that we're talking about tonight is individuality, originality, uniqueness, which each and every person comes here with. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is we are a puzzle, a beautiful puzzle. And so you're invited to go on your own treasure hunt, which is what Andrea is sharing with us tonight, to find the core essence of who you are. You probably have an inkling. You probably know pretty much already, but there's so much magic in the discovery of that seed core that's indigenous to you and you only. And that's why we're inviting you to join us there. Now, I'm going to put up her poster, which she's offering you a free gift, and we're going to talk a wee bit about this later. But now we're going to talk about two divine feminine souls that I'm absolutely mesmerized by, and I know Andrea is as well. So we're going to talk about the agentic feminine astrology. Let's talk a little bit about that. And while we're talking about that, I see on your poster you have Juno, and one of the reasons I came to you is about Eris.
Yeah.
So where do we begin?
Oh gosh, where do we begin? I love that you found me through Eris, Joy, because Eris to me is one of the foremost avatars of our time. And Eris is neither masculine or feminine. Eris is both, and neither, right? Eris is anyway, I don't know how much you want me to go into the astrology of Eris, but she is an archetype that is and she's, for me, deeply involved with the fundamental reality of play, of life as play, which can be scary, paradoxically.
Yes.
If we're used to having things need to be serious, or we need to, have our needs met in very specific ways, then when life comes in and undercuts us seemingly, but is really to redirect us in the place that is more along the true thread of our soul, We're fighting it because we have all these hidden or unconscious ideas of how we should be or how life should go.
Yes.
It can feel like chaos because Eris is the asteroid or the dwarf planet of chaos and discord. But again,
yes.
Is chaos and discord really chaos and discord? Or is it another way of saying where I don't have me yet in play? Okay. And this is not about frivolity, right? This is not just making everything fun and, throwing caution to the wind. Not at all. There is a time for things to be serious or sincere.
Yes.
It's just where are we cutting ourselves off for more choices, for more relaxation, for more ease, and more of that awe and wonder. So you mentioned the agentic feminine. That is my name for the primary, what I call the asteroid god, well, not what I call, but they're the asteroid goddesses in between the planet Mars, which is the last of the individual planets, and Jupiter, the first of the social planets. So the agentic feminine, so this is Ceres, Pallas Athena, Juno, and Vesta.
Yes.
Are literally from where they are in the solar system between the personal and the social. So I call them interpsychic bridges, helping remind us of our purpose, that we're not just here for ourselves, but we're here to connect the thread of our joy so that it brings us into more of how we are meant to build community, build culture, build it so that it is, I am a privileged and important part of it, but it's not just about me. It's about where I can learn from you, where you can learn from me, and where we can co-create the society we want to live together.
I love that. I love the way you explain that, because the way that you started off initially to explain about Eris, and we'll talk a little bit about Juno, but one of the reasons that it appealed to me in the biggest way, Andrea, is because I'm all about the divine feminine, and I'm also about the divine masculine. And I know that it's our time now for women. And what I knew and learned from you, and I've been doing my own research about Eris, it's neither male or female. We're all both. But she is about equality, about learning to grow and meld together. And that's where we're at now, for male and females together. And that's what my purpose and my mission is all about. And no blame, no bashing, no blasting men, whatever and however it happened, that's over. So Eris appeals to me because she's strong. Discord and chaos, well, that was a name that they gave it back in the day, and I guess it holds somewhat. But here was a strong woman who wanted to be and was an equal. Am I wrong about that? That's been my limited discovery.
No, there's so many different levels and layers of each one of these psychic dimensions, right? So in the most immature aspect of Eris, she can be all about just continuing to be contrary just for the sake of being contrary. She can't. She'll disagree with you just because she can, because she wants to. And there's even wisdom in that, but it depends on how conscious we are and how much of our fullness we are inhabiting in that. But generally, she can be just about calling out the bullshit of other people, but not owning so much of herself. That's the immature. All the way up to the mature Eris, which is instinctively, because she's in the sign of Aries for everybody, instinctive drive toward wholeness, toward marrying agency with and doing with being.
Yes. And
coming into our wholeness via, again, play, recognizing how we can meet life not like a child, like childish, but childlike, with that sense of coming back to awe and wonder and not knowing that there's so much more to the way that the life flows with us that our minds cannot perceive, and to humble ourselves to what I cannot know in order to get more and more access to the deeper currents of moving with what is.
And that's an ongoing, never-ending journey for all of us.
Correct.
Absolutely, without question. I love that explanation. Thank you for that. But there's more fascination with her for me and different reasons. But how do we bring in Juno and talk a wee bit about her before we end here? And I'm going to ask, not now, but in a minute or two, to ask my engineer to put up your poster, because you're offering a free gift there. But tell us a little bit about Juno. First of all of these dwarf planets, these female, are mesmerizing and exciting for me. I hope for most people, if you're interested. So tell us a little bit about Juno. I know a little bit about all of them, but I want to hear from you.
Juno. Oh, Juno is one of the more complex. I mean, they all are in their own way, but
Yes.
Juno is about partnership. It can be any kind of partnership.
Yes.
Soul partnerships, like soul. And she's also about contracts, soul contracts, literally marriage contracts, business contracts. She's also very much about projection. She's the mirror, right? She's very much about where we other what we are not available yet to integrate and receive, good and bad, positive or negative, right? But she's very much devoted to forming a relationship with what we have othered and becoming intimate, not sexually, but intimate. Well, it could be erotically. It could be intimate with our Eros if we're not in touch with our Eros.
Yes.
If we're for ourselves first, right? Before a partner, before another person. But she's very much about partnerships, contracts, and sovereignty. Coming in our sovereignty. Yes. As a unique aspect of the whole. And in part of the gift that I shared, is about the agentic feminine again. And I mapped the 4 main asteroid goddesses plus Eris, who's not
Let me interject for just a second, Andrea. Let me ask my engineer to put up your poster, and you can tell us a little bit more about that, what you just said. Apologies, but go ahead. No, she's going to put up your poster, and then tell us a little bit more about this.
Yes. Okay. So I recently I gave a presentation on at the Sky Astrology Conference back in February, and I spoke about the Venus cycle and added my input, you could say, on the agentic feminine and how these 4 main goddesses plus Eris map along the Venus cycle. So each one has an archetypal relevance, and Juno's relevance, since we're using Juno as an example, is for the fullness and the wholeness phases of the Venus cycle. Now I have to add a little asterisk here. I follow the work of Adam Gainsbourg in his work with the Venus cycle. So when I'm talking about the fullness and the wholeness phases, these are not phases that every astrologer working with the Venus cycle are going to be using. So I'm specifically speaking to the light of Venus and the way he interprets the Venus cycle.
And the light of Venus and the balance of Venus. Well, listen, this is the beauty of life for all of us. You follow the path that fits and works for you best. Somebody else does it their way. And never the twine shall meet, or maybe they do, but it's okay. Because ultimately, I think, from my limited knowing, you find that people who have the passion for what they're doing, as you do, the mean is there in the middle you get to for the people that you're serving. And that's all that's important. So however you find it, however you do it.
Right.
My dear, the time flies here. It goes so quickly.
Wow. Yes.
And there's so much to talk about when it comes to the dwarf planets and the feminine, divine femininity, which is my wheelhouse and what I'm all about. And in a way you are too. You are. No question about it. What is the importance? We'll end here. You have a brief minute of culture building. You spoke to that a little bit, but your parting words and your food for thought about that. And then my engineer is going to put you in the green room and I'm going to close the show. But how would you end with that? And I'm going to ask everybody to take a screenshot or a snapshot when this runs again on the freebie that you're offering. But tell us a little bit about the importance of culture building. And that'll be end briefly.
Great. I love it. So for those of us who, this again has to do with this sort of energy of the agentic feminine, which is the energy that bridges and reminds us and revivifies our dharma or purpose, which is what brings us alive to serve others and to serve. And that's what builds culture, is when we have a culture of people who are empowered to be reminded of and awakened to the joy of their purpose, then building the culture just becomes, it just self-evolves. It flows again, and we magnetize the people to us that help us do this. We can support others, and that's just.
Andrea, you are a dream. You are a light being yourself. I've enjoyed this tremendously. I hope that when it goes out, the replay for all of those who will be watching, I'm sure they will as well. You must come back
Oh,
because I enjoy the way you express what you're about. And my engineer is going to put you in the green room, and I'll say, for now, just for now, so long.
Thank you so much. It's been a
Oh,
pleasure.
you're more than welcome. My friends, the joy of bringing to you each and every week a leading lady, a featured guest speaker is what we're all about here. It's never, as she ended, about us. It's about sharing with you. And your assignment, homework, is to partake, to get to know, to do your own research, to see if this is someone that will fit into your lifestyle and what you're about, and maybe others that you serve, however you go about it. The time flies here. It's so good to be back with you. You are not anywhere near knowing how great it is to be back with you, and can't wait to see you again. How about next week? Same time, same station. Sending you much, much love from my heart to your heart. You be and stay well. All the best, my friends. Always. Cheers.